Okay, with Sarah Van Sant, Best Kept Secret is the short film. She's the director of the film. You're from Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Yes, that's where I live now. I'm originally from Jacksonville, Florida.
Jacksonville, Florida. But how is the film scene in Tennessee, like independent film scene in Tennessee?
It's a really good community. We've got a cool Lookout Wild Film Festival here, as well as the Nuga Film Festival. I'd say it's a smaller community, but it's tight knit, and it's really cool to be a part of.
Cool. So, how many films have you made before this one?
This was actually my first short film that, well, I did a 5 minute short a few years ago that was just with a couple friends, and we maybe made it in a few hours. It was
Yeah.
more of like a fight scene stunt reel. But so that was a short. It didn't go into any film festivals, but then I was in a couple short films with my assistant director and writer, Jameson Brawley. He had done three, and I was so impressed with those, and it was a goal of mine to make a short film. So after I was in a few of his, I reached out and asked to collaborate, and we worked together on this idea that I had had for a few years, and it came to life.
So you're an actress. You're an actress before you made a film.
Yep, I've been an actress and a model and a stunt woman, and I've always worked in front of the camera and behind the camera. I actually studied multimedia journalism and production, and so I've done, editing and short videos more just for marketing purposes, and I just really enjoy it. But yeah, I love being in front of the camera and behind the camera.
So this is so it was the was written by somebody else. It was written by Jameson, right? So then when did you you said this was your idea, so you kind of collaborated on the script first, or
Yeah, so my husband and I came up with this idea during COVID, and so I
Jameson's
had
your husband?
a a rough idea already, and but I had to change the story a little bit. So I started working with Jameson, and we were working on the screenplay together, and we had to change it mainly for like monetary concerns. We wanted, the original idea had a lot more people and a fight scene, and so we were able to adjust the script to where it was less actors and actresses and a little more cost effective, but I actually really like how it turned out. I think it's better than our original idea.
I think it's great too because there's a certain kind of like isolation, kind of horror aspect to it, right? Where like when there's not many people, they're like trapped themselves, right?
Right. And
Yeah.
it adds that, like the speaker, I feel like it kind of fits with the times. It's almost like an AI, not AI, but like there's something technologically evil, but it's not really evil. It seems that way in the film, though.
Yeah, and it's just, but it's about a couple, right? So, and a couple generally always ends up going to a mattress store to buy themselves a mattress.
Right. So it's one of those big decisions that everyone has to make at one
Yeah.
point or another, and it can be really expensive. And so the original idea came from when my husband and I, we had just gotten married and we had a queen bed, and we decided, it was time for an upgrade to get a king.
Yeah.
And you have to test them out. And so I remember, we were in this mattress store that really felt like a maze because they have, so many different rooms, and it was really easy to get lost. And we were testing out different mattresses, and I remember thinking, what if we fell asleep and we woke up and the place was closed? And so we let our imagination run wild. And in the short film, that happens, and they try and get out, but the speaker has been, making normal announcements up until the place is closed, and then it starts directing their announcements, speaking to them directly, and then starts revealing secrets, and there's a twist at the end, but it's
Yeah.
it's really fun.
Yeah, it's great. So this is your kind of coming out party as a director. How do you like directing? Is something you want to do again?
I love directing. I felt like every experience I had had up until that point really helped make me be, it helped me feel really comfortable in that role. I've had a really strange past. I've worked as a challenge course facilitator, camp counselor, ocean rescue lifeguard, whitewater rafting guide, professional photographer. I've worked as an actress and stunt woman, in an events department and a bar manager and then executive assistant for many years and a director of marketing. And so I feel like I've had a lot of experience taking groups and getting them to work together, whether it's to go outside of their comfort zone on a challenge course or in whitewater, or to come together because it really takes a small village
Yeah.
to make this short film work. And being able to pivot and make decisions on the fly and think ahead. And it was so fun to explain my vision to people and to see it come to life in that way, and also to hear ideas from other people. I wanted it to be very collaborative, and I think we had a good balance of that. I mean, you have to stick to a schedule, so we couldn't do all the things we wanted to, but I felt really good about the end product, and the team was just incredible. I mean, Jameson Brawley, he had had experience, like I said, doing short films before, so he was a huge asset. Um, we had Axel Marshall as the DP, and he's so incredibly talented. I felt like we worked really well together. I mean, I could just explain what I had in mind, and he brought it to life perfectly. And just so many people on the cast and crew that really, really helped bring this to life and did such a great job. They were such a joy to work with. I think it's just so much fun. It felt like we are at summer camp, you know? Everyone was just having a good time and doing what we love.
So the key to your is the location itself, right? So where did you find the location? Um, was it a mattress store, or what did you kind of have to art direct put it all together?
So we originally had met with this local furniture store and it was very high end, super fancy. And I can remember thinking, oh, this will be visually very pretty. Like we'll be able to get a lot of nice, cool, artistic, creative shots. But it was around tax season when we were talking to them about potentially shooting this film there. And I think they just had a lot going on and ended up we didn't hear from them, so we decided, you know what, we need to move forward and find another place. And it just so happened that I think Jameson had posted, you know, asking like on Facebook if anyone knew of a furniture store that we could use for the short film. And Krishna reached out and we got to see her place, and she and her husband, her late husband, who the film is actually dedicated to, his name's Daniel. They had started this furniture store, and there's a line in the short film that Maurice, the salesman, gives, and he says, "We actually have Zoom classes here on Monday," and that was true. And I remember the store felt so eclectic and fun and unique, and I remember at first thinking, I don't know if this is what we were originally going for, but it fit the vibe so much better than our original location that we had had. And I just love that it gives like this kind of creepy, just you can get lost in it. I mean, they really had like, there literally was an elliptical. There was just the most random things, but it worked. It worked so well. The only big hurdle we had was that the AC was getting picked up on the audio, and we were
Yeah.
shooting in the summer, so unfortunately we had to turn the AC off and use like big fans in between the shoots to keep everyone cool. But everyone dealt with it really well. But I remember that was kind of a struggle. It was pretty hot.
Well, maybe it helped the actors out with their performance, right? Because that it adds to their anxiety, I guess, right? When it's hot.
Definitely. They were real troopers. I think they and two, we shot two 10 or 12-hour days, and so I mean, you you just got to really get into the scene and like feel the place because we're all in there together. But
Yeah.
there was like all these little rooms that, you know, kind of just helped you get in the vibe of, ooh, this is a little spooky because you just didn't know what was around each door.
Yeah,
It was
and you're right.
different, but
These
it
kind of
worked really
stores, these kind
well.
of warehouse stores, can get a little creepy, right? Because it's you don't know where you're going, and it's like, yeah, and it's there's the ceilings are high, right? So there's this kind of like interesting kind of perspective of it's like, yeah, you can it's a little creepy, and you did a good job with it. Let's talk about that because you talked about your cinematographer, which it's a great job, and I'm assuming they did the camera work as well because there's a lot of handheld shots, a lot of long shots in the film. That's just a really nicely photographed film in general. So did you kind of storyboard things with them or go through a shot list? What was your process?
Thank you. Yeah, so Jameson, Axel, and I went to the location. Well, we went to the original location and the new location, and we essentially, Jameson had mapped out a rough storyboard. And so then we went and kind of went through each scene and shot, and talked about how we wanted it to look. So I felt like we were pretty prepared. And, by the time we got there, Axel had a very detailed shot list because he had already basically shot it with a handheld camera, just running and gunning as we had gone through just the three
Yeah,
of us, so that by the time we got there, we knew exactly what each shot. I mean, there were a few shots that were thrown in last minute. Like there's one I really like where they're walking into the store and it had rained the day before. And so there was this puddle. And so I had asked Axel to get a shot of the reflection in the puddle. And I love it because it looks like they're walking into this world and it's like almost upside down. So it's just like you can tell they're going into a new environment. And then there were some like broken glass actually in the store, but I thought when they were stumbling around trying to find their way out, getting that reflection shot of the glass was really cool. And we made a makeshift dolly at one point using like just like something to move furniture. It had some wheels on it, and so we just used that for one of the shots that I really enjoyed. But for the most part, it was pretty planned because the three of us had gone through and talked about different angles and shots we wanted to get. But we did a little bit of improvising on set, but I think it worked out really nicely.
yeah, and like it just like and then there's like kind of two like there's the dark scenes, I guess, and the light scenes, right? Like the day scenes and the dark night scenes. So there's a lot of contrast in terms of how you guys shot it, I guess, right?
Yeah,
The
and
flip of
Axel
the
is a
dark.
master with lighting. He did such a
Yeah,
great job. He can
yeah,
just look and tell people, okay, set up this, and this, and it works great. I think a tough thing, not it wasn't really tough, but it was something interesting to consider was how do we personify the speaker? So we had a red light on it that would kind of not pulse, but like it almost looked like a heart, or breathing. I wanted it to have some movement, and
yeah,
then just the different shots on it, like it'd be a slow zoom to just have a little bit of movement because it is, a static thing. It's just a speaker.
yeah.
But thinking of different ways to make it seem ominous was fun.
Yeah, totally. And so, okay, so let's talk about your cast. Did you ever consider like playing the female lead in the film?
I actually did. That was
Yeah.
my plan because I love acting and I wanted us to save money as much as possible. But I had told myself, if we have an audition that just blows us out of the water, which we did with Kathleen Graham, then I would want them to lead. And I'm really glad that I didn't try and act and direct because I think it would have been too much trying to be in front of the camera and then watching the
Yeah.
playback or having someone direct me, and it would have ended up taking up more time and probably ultimately been more money or at least the same amount. And Kathleen did such a great job. I mean, the moment I saw her in her audition, I thought, yep, she's it. And then we had Danny O'Brien and Maurice Johnson. All of our actors actually came from Atlanta. We're in Chattanooga, Tennessee. But we posted, it was open to local talent as well. But they just did such a great job that I couldn't not pick them. It was really fun working with them.
How far of a drive is it from Atlanta to Tennessee, Chattanooga?
Depends on traffic, but about 2 hours.
Okay, so it's not that bad. So they were able to go home after the shoot, and yeah, okay, gotcha.
We actually had someone help us out. We had an Airbnb for them. I think it
Okay,
was, well, Maurice only came up for one day, so we made sure we got all of his stuff. So he
yeah,
did drive in and drive back. But then Kathleen and Danny had to work 2 days, and so we had an Airbnb for them.
that's great. And so, and yeah, so then where did you find? So you just found them all like and you just auditioned them from like via Zoom, I'm assuming, or
We had a casting director, Hamilton. I'm not sure, I can't remember his last name at the moment, but he is an associate producer as well. And so he took care of everything and basically just found the talent. He posted it, found the talent, and then presented us a few options. And we did Zoom auditions and a couple, like one or two callbacks to have them go through everything.
what about the voice?
Oh, the voice, that was something I had considered doing as well. But Jameson, who was edited the short, he did so much, but he found the voice and I don't know if it was his wife or someone that he found, and it just worked perfectly. I think he added, like an effect to make it sound a little robotic, but it
Okay,
worked really
gotcha.
well.
Because I was
That
looking
was
for a
another
credit.
thing, like we didn't know if we wanted it to sound more humanistic or more, robotic, but I think it's a good balance.
Because I didn't see a credit in the film, and I was assuming it was like an AI voice or something like that to kind of give it the effect.
Yeah, I think he had someone record it. It may have, like I said, it may have been his wife, but I don't think AI wasn't used in the film at all. So he, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd
No,
have to ask him
yeah,
about
yeah.
that.
So no, it's effective though. So basically, and then you like you said, Jameson helped with the edit. He did the edit, and then the sound design as well. Like you kind of put it all together. How were you feeling in post production when the film was coming together? Were you feeling like you got something special here?
Yeah, yeah. Post-production was a good collaboration. I feel like because I had done some, I've done editing myself, I felt like it was really cool for us to sit down and watch. And then, if I ever had input, I could speak the language and say, let's have a fade here, let's do a hard cut here, let's get kind here. But that was a really fun process because, I mean, I guess music was probably the hardest thing. We weren't really sure how big we wanted to go with the background noise, and the effects, and also we didn't want to spend a lot of money. So Jameson did a lot of that himself. And
Yeah.
then we had a a song in the credits that I think he found, or I want to say it was maybe one of his friends who had some copyright free music, and we ended up using one of his songs that I listened to all of them, and I really liked that one.
So now you're out. It's out in the festival circuit. So how's it going so far?
It's doing really well. Yeah, we've won. So Kathleen won Best Actress at the Broad Street Film Festival. We also won Best Short Film. I've won Best Director, and I think we've won. Um, there was another one, but it's done pretty well. We've got a few more festivals coming up, but I'm really pleased. So it's been a great experience.
So you listed off all your kind of experiences in your career, but it looks like on your website you're also a dog trainer. You didn't add that to your list of credits of your like long list of jobs that you've had in your life. So you train dogs right now.
Yeah, so I teach dog agility. I have a dog and we compete and I teach here locally and I've always loved dogs. But I grew up riding horses and so I think I learned a lot about just working with animals and we always had dogs growing up, but then the past I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years I've been helping people with their dogs. I don't do a ton of like one-on-one training. I more teach classes, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's one of my passions. It's really fun.
So they're just like there's a video on your Instagram of it like the where like you're doing the frisbee throwing with the dog. You have two frisbees and
hmm
the dog. That's pretty cool. Like how does that even how do you even train like start the beginning stages of training a dog to do that?
My dog was just always drawn to frisbees. I don't
Yeah.
know what it was. I actually didn't have to train him to be interested in catching them, but
Yeah.
I'm working on being better at throwing a frisbee. I've never really been good at that.
It's so
So
funny.
I
I was gonna compliment you on your frisbee throwing. I'm like, like your frisbee throwing is great. Way better than mine.
Oh, thanks. But I
Yeah.
started taking lessons with my friend Dre. She just moved here to Chattanooga from Texas, and she's amazing. And so that's helped a lot. But yeah, we do agility. We just like I said, started taking frisbee lessons, and we've done some rally and freestyle. And he actually just got his novice and intermediate trick titles.
Wow. So yeah, so you're a busy person.
I try and be. I love to just do as much as I can. I have a lot of interests and passions.
So when are you gonna make your next film?
So right now, Jameson and I are actually working on so I wrote a screenplay. It's a caving movie. I wrote the screenplay in college. And so he and I are working on updating it a little bit because that was like 10 years ago. But we're working on that. And then I'd love for it to be a feature film. That's the goal. But then I'm also slowly writing a book. It's been a goal of mine for a long time. It's just like a novella, but I'm working on that, and I've just been doing a lot of acting here recently.
Great. And so, and you're going to stay in Chattanooga. You're going to stay in Tennessee.
I really love it here. My husband and I have a house and we have a rental property, and it's just such a great community. There's so much to do. I mean, you have whitewater, amazing hiking, mountain biking, caving, climbing. There's just so much to offer, and I love the community. I love how it's got a small town feel, but there's always something going on. We have a ton of events here, so
Yeah.
it's a really great place. I'd be open to exploring other places, but when I was with Jurassic World Live Tour, we were in a new city every week all along the East Coast, and there were a lot of great cities, but I couldn't help but compare them to Chattanooga and be pretty pleased with where I'm at here.
Absolutely. Well, keep making movies. I love to see your next film, and yeah, you're definitely on your way. It's this is a this nice professional film. So I wish it the best of luck.
Well, thank you. I certainly cannot take all the
Yeah.
credit. It was truly a village that brought together and a lot of creative minds and people who just I am so grateful for their talents. And so thank you so much for the time and the opportunity.
Great. All right, let's talk again soon.
Sounds good. Bye.